What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to your channel dedicated to La Vecchia Signora, the AJC. It's match day. We got Juve and Fiorentina set to go at it to finish off the 2024 calendar year and then kickstart the absolute gauntlet that is January for Juventus. I got my man Skanga with me. How you doing, brother?
Living the dream. It's a funny time between Christmas and New Year's. You just sit around, just eat the candy and extra food that you got, and I'm just sitting here getting fat. I'm getting fat with you
It is
guys.
a weird little transition here. It's tough to get
Mhm.
going or whatnot. Well, when it comes to work and whatnot, but here I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. Omer, how you doing, brother?
I'm fine. Worried about Tony and the pigeons he's feeding. What are they doing when he's out there sitting at home? I, I,
Pretty good pitch.
yeah. I have. I gotta tell you, it was raining yesterday. Now it's sunny out, and that's when the birds all come out. So if you hear tons of birds, I had a talk with them. I don't think they give a fuck. So sorry in advance.
All right, all right. Well, it is what it is. Ready to rock, everybody? Let's see if everybody's ready to rock. God Miners, ciao ragazzi. Let's hope we finish the year with a pleasant win. Absolutely. Alex P, ciao lads. Let's finish the year with a W. What's good? Adam Khan, Forza Juve, ciao. Let's end 2024 with 3 points. Buongiorno Bianconeri, Alex Juve here. Matteo Camisa, good morning. Must win game today. Pino, ciao Juventini. Forza Juve, must win, need the 3. Yes, it's a massive, massive game. We've got, and again, we got to storm the barn coming in early here. All right, but is going to Arabia to cover the Super Copa Live. Are you heading to Saudi Arabia to cover the Super Copa?
Does you guys must think I need a tan or something? Yes, I'm a little white. I know it happens in the wintertime. My tan just absolutely disappears. And no, I don't use fake tan, you animals. But I would if all expenses paid. I'd go. Why not?
Well, yeah, and when you brush the stuff in the hair or the beard a little bit, just a little
You
on the skin, darken up
bitch,
a little.
just start the show.
Yes, that's how we're starting things off. All right. We got a ton in the news. News was all over the place this
hmm
week. You could see there on the header. Giuntoli maybe doesn't know that Christmas is over. He might still be handing out gifts to direct competitors when it comes to Danilo.
Still
Uh,
got the Befana on January 6th, buddy. He might be waiting for the Befana to show up.
Befana, yeah, he's waiting for Befana. Okay, but this is,
Mhm.
I don't know. We're gonna talk about all of it, of course. We've got news in the attack. We'll probably start there and work our way through, and then we've got the big news around Elkan and the actual club coming. Yeah, something that
Interesting.
a lot of people have been a lot of rumblings about, also involving Agnelli. So we'll cover all of it right now, and then of course get ready for the big game today between Juve and Fiorentina. So we start things off with the attack. Kolomuani, weird contradictions, and the media's all over the place. And you've got guys kind of planted flags in all different
hmm
scenarios here. So with Kolomuani, one day we hear PSG has interest now from Prem clubs. Juve's going to be out because they'll most likely get their outright purchase. So Juve needs it to start with a loan. Immediately the next day, it's Kolomuani is definitely still in play for Juventus because PSG is open to a loan. It just would require Juve to fully commit into an obligation at a price PSG is happy with. You've got fans so split on Kolomuani and if they would actually want him to come to Juventus or not. For me, the versatility is great. The fact he could kind of play anywhere up top there, but it's not a make or break for me. But Omer, like, what do you think about Kolomuani?
I'm not a huge fan. I don't really mind him. I think he's one of those strikers who probably will be good as like the backup guy or some mid-table club. That's where he'll shine. I don't see him leading the line for like a top European club. That's my stance on him. But he's relatively young. I mean, he could still improve and get a lot better. But as things stand now, that's where I place him.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I don't see this big push for to say like we should definitely not be adding this guy. I think Skanga's probably going to be along the same lines as me.
100%.
The devil's in the details, really. If the deal makes sense, financially, and you're adding a younger guy, a guy with that kind of versatility, it's not the be all end all. That's kind of where I'm at on this thing. And I figured you'd probably be along the same lines, that the devil's always in the details on these moves. As long as we don't handcuff ourselves, get stuck, we'll probably be all right.
I have no idea who that player is.
I knew it.
I knew
Not
it.
even a clue who that guy is.
I was trying to throw you a freaking bone. All right.
Yeah,
don't even-
remember that
I'm
big
not gonna lie
miss
to
in
you.
the World Cup final?
That was
The
him.
huge miss. That was him.
When he sacked Emiliano
Martinez?
Martinez in the point blank shot there. That was him.
Yeah, so he's a bum. That's what you're telling me.
Now, we get to
And
the other news in the attack. This one would probably be for the summer. Santiago Castro of Bologna. Now, currently turning some heads. Inter is one. Juve is another. That would probably be for the summer. But a guy we haven't heard a lot about anymore, Jonathan David. Jonathan David, Canadian striker. What's going on there? Giuntoli's going to make the pitch in January and try to be one of the clubs that can hopefully get shortlisted. He's going to have a bunch of options. Even Pioli out in Saudi is going to try to get him over there, and they're going to throw a bunch of money at him. But there's a lot of rumors around him making intense demands. Like strong demands outside of salary and stuff. Like we're talking almost, you start hearing about players and tractors for their fathers, etc. You don't want a tractor, but there's a lot of stuff going on there with agent fees and stuff for the family. Yeah.
You can't really fault a guy for trying to get his bag. This could be the one time he can get the bag for the crew.
You do what you got to do.
Go try and get that bag.
But Jonathan David's still very much in the mix. When we get to some of the out there rumors, Tonali. Is Giuntoli trying to set something up? Is this why we're hearing a lot about this Fagioli move? Is it not just to kind of boost the back line, etc.? Is it also maybe to get some capital in and prepare and posture up for a potential freeing of Tonali? Newcastle, apparently, due to PSR, profit sustainability rules, a fancy way of saying financial fair play, is probably going to have to sacrifice some guys. Tonali, over the past few days in England, has been listed as probably one of the top candidates for them in terms of assets in moving. Real quick, that would definitely soften the blow of saying goodbye to Fagioli and not giving him fair shake or whatever and taking your 25, whatever it is, mil. That would 100% soften the blow because that's a huge upgrade. Agreed?
That would be like Nicola Who. If we sign Tonali, if that's the replacement, it's not even a discussion.
Exactly.
I'm big on Tonali. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's the kind of player any team could use and want in their arsenal. And I don't see it happening. They just bought him for like 80 million and then he was sidelined for an entire year. I don't see it happening, but if it really is an option and Giuntoli can pull it off, take him. First of all, take him, then figure it out.
We know that the likelihood, like you're kind of tipping off here, is low. But it is picking up a lot of steam. And, hey, we always say, where there's smoke, usually there's fire. And there's a lot of smoke around it. We just wait and see.
And how many of the Giuntoli targets that were like rumored, like kind of smoke and sort of picked up, turned out to be not true? Like, Quote Miners was the longest time. That turned out to be true. Douglas Luiz, right?
Yeah.
Kylian Thuram, right? Omer almost bought the jersey 3 months before we signed the guy. So
yeah, Kefren Thuram. Kylian, you're mixing French guys there. Kylian, and you hate Kylian, so that's the funny part. Not an Mbappe fan. Don't ask Gang about Mbappe.
Oh my God! Oh,
I'm with him, by the way.
Right? So Mota. So I think where there's smoke.
And here's the thing: for even if it's not very likely, which we can say it probably isn't, if there is the chance, like by all means, you have to. And everything we are hearing is that Giuntoli is like Hawkeyes on this situation. So maybe when we start hearing about moves like for this capital in January, it could in fact not just be solely for January. And it could still be posturing up to strike on something that could open up in the summer. And don't forget, Club World Cup presents an interesting situation because windows open up for the clubs participating. That is different to any other year because it almost starts for them a bit sooner. So it's going to kind of change the landscape of everything a little bit. So all I'm saying is just take it easy. Let's just see and have an open mind to everything because you never really know what's going to shake up. But maybe that's a lot to do with it. Think about it. If we are in fact going to move some of these guys, pull in capital here, but you're still hearing about every move we want to pull in January having to start off with a loan. Think about it. I'm saying maybe, just maybe, there's posturing up heading in beyond it. That's all. We just take all the rumors and, hey, we lay it out for you to play it out. You take it, you do whatever the hell you want, and you do whatever the hell you want with this lace soiree. Take it easy, okay? I told you on the video when I updated this, take it easy. Chiesa back to Italy, all right? So a lot of rumblings there that there's going to be a loan to try and get him back into Italy where he wants to be to get minutes because it ain't happening at Liverpool. The guy has played probably more minutes U21, of course, has physical issues, injuries, etc., trying to get in. Fede Chiesa, loan, return. Juve has links. Listen. He's more heavily linked with Atalanta, Inter, even Fiorentina before Juve. But Juve has apparently some minor weak links there to the guy as well. I can't see Giuntoli doing it. Can you guys see Giuntoli doing it, bringing it back?
No, absolutely not. I'll keep my Fede thoughts to myself because I don't want to,
Well, you
ignite
shouldn't
the
because
chat.
honestly, this would be the right business. They're picking up the salary and you get
Yeah.
this guy no risk on a loan. That would be the way to do it. Like, honestly, if you're going to do it, business-wise, it would make sense.
In a perfect world, yeah, I feel like still Fede has a lot to prove for Juve. If Juve manages to pull it off somehow, then he definitely has a spot in the team right now. But I don't see Giuntoli pulling this off. I don't see him even looking at that direction. The guy just left after.
Chiesa should go to Atalanta, get his career back on track with a little needle there. That's not a bad idea. I'm actually fine with it just being done and whatever. But Skanga, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Giuntoli doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to bring back old sacks of potatoes like some guys. You know, in those sacks of potatoes, you get the one rotten potato in the sack and it just spoils the whole sack. I think he was one of the potatoes that was spoiling the whole sack. I don't see him coming back. I think he was a pain in the ass, and I don't think he even wants anything to do with him. We got our money for him. I get the whole sentiment. Loan, it's always good to have an extra winger, but no.
I think it's kind of done. As far as Giuntoli and how he strikes us, I thought I had a good read on this guy. I have no idea where this guy is coming from or what he's thinking or what he's doing. So I thought I had a read. I have no idea anymore, okay? Because like I said, Christmas keeps going again, everybody. Just a hypothetical on Chiesa. We're definitely not looking or anticipating him coming back, okay? Soiree, apologies, okay? But it's done, man. What's done is done. But Giuntoli, getting a read on this guy. The Danilo thing is, for me, I can't wrap my head around it. So it starts off with a move, trying to find a sale. And there was teams out of Saudi. There was some decent clubs still linked. And it was like, okay, we're going to sell, maybe make a few million. He's got 2.5 roughly left on his salary for this season that we owe towards this move. That's it. And now it becomes, we're potentially going to just make a severance, cut him loose, and let him walk right into Conte's hands and Napoli's squad in January. Christmas is over, man. The gifts? What? We don't. What are we doing favors for other clubs for?
This
I
one's
don't
a bit
like
of a head
this.
scratcher. Yeah, we had quite an extensive talk in the group chat over this one. I thought maybe, and you can give the details in this, I thought maybe they were trying to fill up an international spot, but
Once you get, yeah, we use two in the summer, and that's it. You don't free it up. And
so
I thought for a while there that there was a way around if you could switch guys in your roster. Like I thought Adzic was this asterisk that he could be moved down to next gen, which I ultimately thought was going to happen, and you could get a non-European spot. Not the case. 2 per season, period. And that's the whole reason why Jonathan David is not a January option. Um, yeah, and it was always unclear on that too. And even the guys I was asking, journals and whatnot, they couldn't really clarify. I was like, can you free up a non-European spot? And they were like, and I gave them that scenario with Adzic, but that's not the case. So this Danilo one, I don't really get it. I don't really get it, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, you've got an injury crisis. You're taking a guy that can, again, he can't play center back in a high line, but at fullback, where we are thin, he can do a job. And you're going to give yourself more work, and you're not going to bring in money. So you're doing it for what? Even if he's out of the project, it's more beneficial to you to keep him around until season's end and not let him go to a direct competitor. It's weird.
the only thing I can see, is that he Giuntoli is trying to clear out the locker room of dead weight from the previous management. And there's issues in the locker room with Danilo, but we haven't heard any words of that, any sort of hint of him being an issue in the locker room. I have no idea. I'm grasping at straws on this one. I have no, because we're not getting any money for him. Everything you said is correct. I don't.
Yeah,
This
I
one
don't
doesn't.
get
No,
it.
it's super weird. I can't put my finger on why. The only reason that is, again, not logical, but maybe a reason is that he has that idiotic 1 year renewal, automatic renewal in his clause, and if you do keep him in January, then you will reach that amount, and then it'll get extended to one more season, which is again not a problem for me. I don't mind having him in the roster for another season. But like you said, Giuntoli is kind of unreadable. I can't put my finger on why. It doesn't seem like something happened. Because with Chiesa, you could clearly see something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And with Danilo, it doesn't seem like that. I don't know why. I have no explanation. Personally, I don't like this move at all. I'm sure
Okay.
there are reasons.
And if we go into the clause on the automatic renewal, it was rumored for a while there he's willing to scrap it. And for whatever reason, Juve never finalized that and never actually approached it. So
Well,
I really don't get
that's
this.
what he said. That's what he said in public.
Did he
Whether
say that,
that's
or
what-
was it the media that
No,
he's
he
willing
actually,
to?
I
He
believe
said,
that there
okay.
was an interview where he said, yeah, I just want to make it a wash. I want to see my contract out. I'm pretty sure Skanga's right on that. Regardless, same situation with Fagioli, says a player profile you need being shipped for no reason. At least there you could talk about capital gain, which would be
Yes.
significant. At least there's that. With this, it makes zero sense. Now, people are saying, well, he's 33 years old, etc. He probably wants out for minutes and everything. I don't care. If you want out, you can go in 6 months' time. If it's for nothing, no financial gain to us, and again going to a direct competitor. I really couldn't care less
Look,
what his
I'm
needs or demands are. I'm sorry.
I'm 100% sure there's a detail missing there that will maybe not clarify it, but will be reasonable from Juve's part. I think we're missing a crucial detail here, because otherwise it just makes zero sense. We're not making any money. We're losing a player in a position that we don't have any players, and we need to buy. I mean, nothing about it makes sense,
Well,
which makes me
Aldo
believe that we
has a
don't know
theory.
the entire picture.
Aldo's theory is I haven't heard that one yet.
Danilo out and used salary for 2 loan players, so we're using 2.5 million on 2 loans. So
Well, it would be half of that because it's only half a season.
2.5. Yeah, he grosses
Oh, sorry.
5.1.
He grosses 5. I'm sorry. Okay.
So
So it's like
2.5. Um, dude, Silva, now they're talking about you're going to have to pay the release clause, which by the way is 100 mil. Like they're playing games too. And we don't know. DiMarzio, like a month ago, said it's going to be agreed, whatever. They're open up to the loan and everything. And everyone else that follows has said no. When it comes to Danilo, though, there is still some guys out there that are saying Juve won't move him in January. Mirko Di Natale is one remaining adamant that he's not moving.
Did he say that? I know he's sort of.
Well, he said it like 2 days ago when everybody was like, Danilo is out, he's available, he's on the market. Mirko was the one that said like he ain't going anywhere. So there's a little bit of a posturing here because Romano came out and said, yeah, he's for sale, he's on the market. And Mirko Di Natale said 0 confirmations. So little bit of a posturing there by the journals too, but it's a weird scenario for Juventus, and it's one that raises questions around Giuntoli and what exactly is happening here. You've got an injury crisis, you're low on cash, but still these guys are out of the project and can't be used, yet you did the same thing with McKennie that ended up being, this piece that's quite useful. It's shit like that all of a sudden, all the faith and the trust, you start to look at like, what are we doing? Why so aggressive?
I disagree with how I look at it. I still have faith in Giuntoli, right? So let's just put this one out there. How many of his transactions have missed so far? For me, it's still 0. Because, right, we haven't finished the season yet. Some are trending downwards. Luis is sort of trending in the downwards direction. But so far, none of his transactions have missed.
Injuries are like a wild card that I can't really fault a guy on. But you can when the guy's got history. And Nico might fall in line with that. Nico might be the one that falls in line with that. Expensive signing.
But you can't judge it yet because it's only been half a year. I'd say maybe at the end of the year, going into next season, you can start looking back on Giuntoli's transactions. But right now, it's like, for me...
But he also left the 2 gaps that we're trying to fill. Like, he left that. Like, he left no backup for Vlahovic. He left a low defensive line, thin, and sent guys on loans for no reason. Like, we didn't even get financial gain. Rugani made no sense. You could argue, well, Facundo, there was a lot of bullshit around behind the scenes. But let's say Rugani should have probably stayed. It's this constant push from these guys on certain guys. Why? Just because they're tied to like the years previous? Like, at some point, you still have to look at what's best for the group. You're thin. It's weird.
He did leave a little thin.
It's weird.
That's why this Danilo one is,
I gotta see, and this is where I left it with Lou, like in our chat. I said, I just need to see what actually goes down, and then I'll judge. But as of like face value right now, with what we're hearing, I haven't got a clue on this one.
It's an odd one. Yep.
That's wild. That's wild. But we'll see. Omer might be 100% right. Might be 100% right. There is something there that's like obviously none of us are privy to, and it's just behind the scenes that they must know about, and it is what it is. Let's see. That's all we could do is wait and see. But Danilo, yeah.
It's interesting that I didn't realize this is the last game of the year. Like, maybe we should do a recap in one of the shows of the past year because it's been a crazy one.
It's
Look
also
back at January last year, the team we had, where we were, and where we are now. So much has happened in 2024 that was an insane year for Juve. Maybe you should recap it. It needs more than just a few minutes.
It needs more than just a few minutes on a segment. And yeah, I mean, we usually do a holiday season kind of recap thing with everybody, and we'll probably have to set that up on playback. But yeah, I don't know. Well, how do you feel about the team now versus then? Like end of December versus end of December a year ago? Just real quick.
I barely liked anyone in the team we had last season. No, really, I used to look at the lineup and say I almost don't like anyone here. Can't wait for most of them to leave.
Mm.
And all of that almost happened in one summer. So
Mhm.
I'm fine now. I think Juve has a good backbone that needs more work together, more chemistry, and there's still a long way to go. And some players I do miss, but in general, I feel better than I did last season.
Huh.
I believe last year we were going. If I could
At
check
this
the
point,
numbers.
we were 1-2 at
Yeah,
this point last year.
we had our good run in December and
It
up
didn't
until
crumble
Empoli in
till after
January.
January.
Yeah,
It wasn't it in January where we lost to Monza
yeah. No,
back to back,
we
like mid
drew
January.
no, we drew Empoli, and then everything started to fall apart after
The
Milik
wheels
with that
started
red
falling off
card.
in January.
So
Right.
Yeah.
So
right now versus last year, same kind of point, Skanga. Your feelings now versus then?
I think I have more hope this year than I do last year. Last year there was a lot of cracks. I think it's just you had the same manager for 3 years. There was the issues. Is Di Maria ever going to play? Is like what's going on with that? I just think this year I have more hope for the team, even though okay we're sitting lower in the table. I just think there's more. I have more positivity for the rest of the year compared to last season.
If I'm looking, and that was, I think Di Maria was already gone last year. That's a year prior. That's a blur
Was it?
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that was a
going
year
2 years
prior. Di
back.
Maria was already
Oh,
gone.
okay.
Roster
Check,
wise, I feel better.
check
I feel
record.
better roster wise,
Yes.
for sure. Playing wise, I still think we play like shit overall. Like I still do. I still do. For different reasons. Now we just play like shit with the ball as opposed to playing like shit without the ball. I still hate equally how we play. And I still think, the balance isn't there. And there's work to be done. There was work to be done with Max. There's work to be done with Malta. Because ultimately, yeah, you got to find a way to get these wins. And the wins we have gotten in the league are against the fucking teams like you should really be win. Who's the only top team we beat? It was with an own goal. It was Lazio. Other than that,
Are
we
you
beat
talking about
shit
last? Oh,
teams.
this year.
Who'd
Yeah.
you beat? You beat Como. You beat who the hell was it?
It was Verona in the second match
We
day.
beat Verona. We beat Torino
You talking about this year?
this year. You gotta do a little bit better. For me, in Champions League, the games are wide open. I actually feel more optimistic heading into
Do you
those
want
games
Do you want
than I
this
do.
year's wins? So it's Como, Verona, PSV, Genoa, Leipzig, Udinese, Torino, Bologna. Oh, sorry, Bologna was a tie. Man City, Cagliari, and Monza.
Yeah, so in league, you're
We-
not pulling any big wins. Today is a big win you need to pull. Okay, but they are
Well,
also dropping a couple games there. Fiorentina.
I
Some
got
people are thinking
last.
maybe level off, but for me overall, it's lacking a lot in play. But I'm keeping the hope that as the talent is better, and I do think the players are better, and I agree. I like more of the guys on this team. That will also pick up and everything. But I'm a stubborn guy. I'm sticking to what I've been saying for a while. It starts with Malta. I need to see this guy turn the screws. And then the lineup, probably going back to Cope Miners as a 10 today. Before that, it was rumored as McKennie was going to be your 10. So we'll get into the lineup as we have this big game right now ahead of us. So we are going to talk Fiorentina and Juventus. But first, Elken selling Juve in 2026 at the end of that season.
This is going to piss off a lot of people.
Is it time to break sort of this tradition with this family ownership and everything? Is it time to play the game that everybody else is playing and get somebody in? And again, obviously the second piece to all of this news is that Agnelli's posturing up to partner and to purchase. How do you guys feel about all this?
Well, maybe it's time. Like in general, because of my childhood memories and how I view Juve, and it's different. It's a big shift, but looking at it, at the other teams in the league, when you're the only one who's operating by the rules because you're a publicly traded company and no one else has to abide by the same standards, then it's not a fair game. Like if you would have played in the Bundesliga where all the clubs are owned by the fans, 50 plus one, blah, blah, blah. And then it's doable because the same rules apply to everyone, but it doesn't feel like that in Italy. And maybe it's time to play like the rest.
Skanga, time to sell?
Yeah, listen, me and my old ass, I love nostalgia, but it's a different world, man. You gotta, you're either growing or dying. So
What are we benefiting from where
there
we
you
are now?
right. I think there comes. I know. I get people want the nostalgia and the old guys sitting on the bench and stuff. I was there. I heard the conversations. It's just
You
if
were
it
on the
happens, it
bench.
happens.
You were on the bench having a sandwich while those
Right.
guys were creating Juve.
I was just having lunch. If it comes time to sell it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've been like in my professional life, I've been part of companies. I've gone private to public, and it's just times change, and that
Yeah.
it is what it is.
The tradition is beautiful. The story is amazing. That is really hard for me, especially with how unique it is to us.
Mhm.
It's really, really hard to want to go away from that. The other thing that is kind of like concerning for me is if you're looking at Milan and you're listening to what their ownership, the Americans, are talking and how they're talking, because he comes out on this long-winded interview and speech and he's talking about, yeah, it's Milan and my fans expect me to win all the time, but I have shareholders and the shareholders want a constant set of results that is better long term, and that's reaching a certain spot, qualifying for Champions League, making sure you have a certain amount of revenue year in, year out. That's a little bit terrifying to hear, that trophies mean nothing to these guys, and that
But it's a bit different.
there is no ties to the tradition or ambition anymore, and it's literally a numbers game and you're just trying to remain status quo. That's terrifying. So the last thing I want, it's really going to depend who is buying Juve. If
Well,
Agnelli's involved, I'll have faith. If he's not and it's an unknown, I'll be very concerned, because I don't want a guy coming in here to Juve and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're getting top four. That's our ambition. We're keeping the money train just where it needs to be. That's it. You got to think a little bit bigger, and you have to respect where you're at and respect your fans, your customers, or guess what? Eventually, they'll fucking leave too.
but that's where we are now with the shareholders, right? This would take
Look,
it from public back to private,
yeah, I
right?
mean, you're
Right
still
now, we're
keeping it in the family. If it's Agnelli,
If
it's
it's
not
Agnelli, that's
going
what I'm
that far
saying.
away. Yeah, it's not going that far away from tradition. But if it's a different company like Redbird or whoever owns Inter or Milan, I mean, they're looking at numbers, like you said, and the first thing they let go if the numbers suck and if the company starts losing money, they don't have any relations to Juve, any emotional ties. They'll let that shit go because it's losing them money, and then you get stuck, which happened to a few clubs around Europe and in China mainly. The what do they call Guangzhou? I mean, the stories there is crazy how they just left everything because the company was losing and the clubs crumbled. If it's a different ownership that looks on the revenue, I don't want it. If it's Agnelli, I'm certain Juve is his top interest, and he'll do everything to make it work.
And
is the
that's
rumor of
exactly
it
where I'm
being
at. And even right now, as we sit, I'm saying, and this was what, 3 weeks ago? We need somebody at the top because you've got temps in Ferrara and Scanavino. They mean shit to culture and what, like, let's just call it for what it is. They mean sweet fuck all to the culture of the club. Elkin's Juve is this big in his world. This fucking big in his world. It is such a minute piece of the pie, it matters not. And that's the reality of it. We have always known that figure, that guy. And I think that's why it's hard as a fan base to see kind of where it's at now and say, like, who's the guy? Who is the guy? Elkin doesn't need to leave. We just need a guy, like one direct guy that actually understands the business, understands the game, that can come in here and actually spearhead everything and lead everyone. This is above Giuntoli. Ferraro and Scanavino are not the guys. So while I just spent that time talking about Milan's ownership and the words they're saying, Ferraro and Scanavino give me those vibes. And when Alex P says we're kind of there right now, I don't think he's far off, and I can understand feeling or thinking that way because you've got numbers guys kind of running the show, and Giuntoli's making maybe some questionable moves here. That could you think of some of the guys previously that were running our shit being like, yeah, let's let him go and walk right over across the street to the rivals just like this?
It would never happen.
Would never happen. No. So yeah, shit's got to be figured out, but it ain't easy. It's not an easy call. And at the end of the day, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what's out there and what's floating around. So get ready for media to jump on this.
Tell the chat right now. You want me on that board. You need me on that board.
Scangavino. I love that. Scangavino. Oh, my God. Oh, man. That's gold. Yeah. Hey, let's just wait and see. But wait for media to jump on this one very, very soon. That Elkan is looking to sell potentially outright. And Yeli, we've heard for a while, trying to partner up. Let's see.
But Danilo did need the time off, in my opinion. He needed the time off. There were too many issues going on.
I don't know if it was needed to go through the court cases and everything. But yeah, I mean,
no, not the court cases.
For sure. For sure.
There were a lot of shit happening with figures in the FIGC in Europe, and it needed to cool down.
Juve, Fiorentina, let's go. I'm going back in time. I'm trying to manifest something here today, everybody, with this kit and everything. Okay, we're going to take it back to 2006 here in a matchup. And anybody want to take a guess at the score line of this particular match? I'll tell you, it was not Serie A. It was Coppa Italia.
Oh, that's probably buried somewhere deep in my memory.
4-0.
Ooh.
No, it was the time where Luca Toni and Pazzini still played for Fiorentina. They were a good team at the time. But you wouldn't have brought it up if we hadn't won. So I'm guessing like a 2-0. It's a guess.
Scangavino strikes. It was 4-1. It was a 4-1 finish there. Does anybody want to take a stab at our starting lineup in that game?
Omer, go ahead, bud.
How early was it in the season?
It was January 10th, 2006.
Okay, so that's like not quarterfinals, even before that. Okay, I'll guess. Let's say Buffon in goal. I think that's my first mistake. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Buffon, Zambrotta.
Yeah.
Chiellini.
No.
Zabina.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Thuram. Pretty strong lineup. Thuram, yeah.
Okay. Thuram, Cannavaro. Let's say Emerson, Vieira.
No Emerson. Vieira's there.
Emerson. Okay, so either Tacchinardi.
No.
Muto, Giannicheda.
So Mutu was there.
Mutu was there, so that means no Nedved. Camoranesi probably played.
Nedved was in there.
Nedved was in there. Wow.
It was a strong lineup. You're almost there, man. Lineup. You're missing like one more fullback and the two up top.
Okay, so Zlatan?
No.
Trez and Del Piero.
Del Piero, not Trez.
Not Trez. Wow. What other strikers did we have back then?
So at the back,
Then,
this one was kind
yeah.
of a bitch. Balzaretti.
Oh, wow.
Balzaretti at
Forgot
the
about
back.
that
And then
guy.
up top, yeah, had some big goals, especially in '03.
Oh, Zalaeta. Okay.
Zalaeta, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Zalaeta. That
about
was the starting lineup for us in that game. Right
Yeah.
there. And you could see Del Piero bagging the Hattie.
Oh,
To
Manuela Blasi. I
bagging the
forgot about
Hattie.
that guy. Yeah.
Now, we get to today's. So I'm trying to manifest. I'm rocking the kit. And this is one of my favorite all-time home kits Juve's ever had. The Centenario there from the first Scudetto. Beautiful. Absolutely love
See,
it.
how good do kits look when they don't have the collar? Look at that. You guys shit on me when you're like, oh, there's Ganga in the collar. Look at that kit. Look at
I
that.
don't mind a nice collar because sometimes I gotta show them what's up at a wedding reception or something, whatever. And you know what collar? Make it like that kit you could wear anywhere. That's an all timer.
It's true. It's very nice.
It's
But
a
if it
very
didn't have a
nice.
collar, look at
It's
this
a
guy.
nice. It's a
But
nice. Now, very nice.
Very
Projected
nice.
lineup today. We will get into that. I'll pull it up shortly here. But for today's matchup, Fiorentina. Well, they are. Palladino's got no problems with his squad when it comes to injuries and whatnot. So full complement of players are available. Still some doubts about Bove. They don't know what's going on there, I guess, with him. But
He
other
can't
than
play
that, he's
again no
good to
matter
go.
what.
What's
I
that?
thought he was done.
He can't play again in Italy no matter what. The same reason Ericsson couldn't come back to Inter. There's a
But
rule
did that
against it.
actually go down because he's still around and everything?
Yeah, that
And he's
that
still
that was the
training with
news.
Fiorentina. Like,
Really? That was the news that he's going to have a
yeah,
pacemaker
because
and
he's
he's not
there. If you
allowed.
watch these past few games, he's there. He's in
Interesting.
the locker room. He's in the dressing room. He's training with the team. So I don't really understand it. But anyways, we kind of know that situation. Unfortunate for him.
Interesting.
But we wait and see. We've got Dodo, who missed the last game through suspension, is going to actually be returned here. He's expected to replace Kaori at right back. They're seen to be going in a 4-2-3-1, typical for them. De Gea's been great for Fiorentina. Yeah,
Always
he's
been great.
loving life in Italy there so far. Dodo, Comuzzo, Ranieri, Gosens. Gosens at Fiorentina having a great season as well. Cataldi, Adli, Colpani, Goodmanson, Sotil, and Moise Keane. That is their expected starting 11 into this one. And then ours will pull up right here. Very, very, standard, customary for what we should expect. Cope Miners back in the 10 role. McKennie is expected to start at left back because Cambiaso has just come back into the mix. Cope Miners, Danilo, Luis, all on the team sheet. Even Nico Gonzalez. And there was this weird concern thing about Nico Gonzalez. I actually took it as a positive that maybe we finally learned our lesson in terms of making it not one size fits all for these guys.
In terms of rehab.
And some fans are immediately shitting on it, saying this game is dead. You got a guy now we have to cater to. He's like a prima donna. So take it however the hell you want. For me, it's more beneficial to Juventus to keep as many guys as you can healthy and available and more options for your manager. Period. Yeah. If you have to do this, you have to do this.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Nothing to add.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to keep seeing 9 guys out on your squad list going into every match, or do you want as many available as possible? If this is what it takes, do it, because what we're doing before is failing. If you're failing at something, you correct it. Period. Prima donna, this and that, it's all noise. Bring me results. And if you need these guys to bring those, fucking make sure they're in the lineup. Period. With, we can't get overboard because there are some things, but we're not talking about complete differential treatment and whatnot. We're just talking about recovery and training and whatnot, and getting these guys available. We're not talking about giving these guys the world and acting like it's Club Med. You just got to get these guys in the lineup. This starting lineup, guys, thoughts? Pretty standard.
I think the way Fiorentina plays, they are pressing, they are attacking a lot. This will be, I feel like, an easier game for us attacking wise, not defensive wise, kind of similar to City. And I think that's why he wants to ram in there. And he needs the guys who break up players and can ship us out to counter attack quickly. And Thuram does that phenomenally. So that's why I think we're seeing the shift. I think Coop Miners is a lot more useful when he's back there, when we are the ones who are holding possession and attacking more. And besides that, I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. I was hoping it would be Cambiaso, but it seems like he's still not ready.
Yeah, I guess
But Fiorentina does have a good team. There are some good players out there.
there was doubts, like all of a sudden, like just as of this morning, that Cambiaso wasn't going to actually even be in that squad list, even. But he did make it into the squad list, so he's there. They're just not going to start him and whatnot, and I don't have any problems with that. I don't think we need to get into any points where we lose him for an extended period of time, and we've already got a count of 5, potentially 6 guys that have returned and then immediately gone back. So take your time, don't rush it. Skanga, your thoughts on this lineup?
Before I heard Omer say his piece, which I 100% agree with, my initial thought was I liked Colt Miners beside Locatelli and McKennie up where Colt Miners is. If Nico can't go, but then Cambiaso obviously can't start. So I think that'll be the first change, is depending on the scoreline, I'm seeing Thuram come out, McKennie go up, Coop Miners come down. And if Cambiaso comes in, or if Nico comes in, Thuram will be the first one sacrificed. Hopefully we're up 1 by then, but other than that, there's no excuses with this lineup.
There are some games, and you know, there's some points here we have not done good with this lineup. Whenever you have Colt Miners, there's a 10, etc. There are games where you can justify having 3 midfielders. I said that even though I've wanted Yildiz and Nico to rotate in the 10 spot, there are games you're going to need 3 midfielders. Is this one of them? Maybe. I can see it. What I would do is, if I was going to do anything, is almost make it a 4-3-1-2. But not so strict and not so rigid. Utilize Yildiz, utilize Conceição when the ball is on the opposite flank to cut in centrally and make that diamond with the midfield. McKennie is fully capable of getting up the pitch. Savona is as well. Just change it up a little bit if you're going to go with 3 midfielders. But Colt Miners, in his interpretation of the 10 in this setup, has been night and day to that of Yildiz and Nico Gonzalez. So I would still try to utilize Yildiz as being that guy that can link that midfield to attack. But I do agree, this game is not going to be closed off. So even if you played it in this manner, we should be able to, and again, I hate that fucking word, but we should be able to create and generate enough through this. So let's see. I do prefer this to McKennie being up there at the 10 role, which was rumored first. I'd rather have him there or further back in the midfield, unless you're going 4-1-4-1. That 4-1-4-1 hasn't really amounted to much. And funny enough, Colt Miners is always listed at the 10. Tell me he's played as the 10 after you look back to the way Nico and Yildiz have played it.
See, that's why
He
I like
hasn't.
McKennie up there, because McKennie staples his hip to Vlahovic's hip.
Yeah,
Right? And Nico does the same. Dusan plays off that partner, and that partner, whoever plays with Dusan's drawing a double team. That partner always seems to find open space.
Yeah.
It
It's
does
night
seem
and
like
day.
he's caught between 2 positions,
Yes.
like between the number 10 and like a second striker, and and he can place himself in the right positions at the right times.
Yeah.
Because if you're a 10, you can be a 10. You can be slow with a great shot and great balls like many players did. But if you are part of the build-up, then you have to drop back. And I feel like he kind of played a striker most of the time with his back to goal and trying to find lanes. And he couldn't do that dribbling and beating your man one-on-one that Nico and Yildiz could. So he had to be utilized differently in that 10 role.
Yeah. Huh. Now, key stats, and then we're going to get to set the Tony with the official and who's going to be reffing this thing. You got that set to go?
Got it, yep.
Key stats, Juve have managed to draw 20 Serie A games in 2024.
Hey.
Ho. Juve undefeated in their last 25 matches across Serie A. They have won 10 of their last 11 home matches against Fiorentina in all competitions. And Fiorentina have lost their last 2 Serie A games. Today is massive, and we have got to get 3 points again. We'll talk about the gauntlet that is to come. But set the
I have
Tony.
one more key stat. One more key stat before that. Moise Kean. In 3 years, 3 seasons at Juve, he had 14 goals and 1 assist. Do you know how many he has for Fiorentina this season?
He's got
7?
It doesn't
14 goals and 1 assist.
Yeah. Now, people, and I go back to this again with the whole Moise Kean thing. You know, there's a couple things right now that drive me nuts when they keep coming up. This is one of them. This guy literally, this past week, came out and talked about suffering from depression and being bad physically and being bad mentally all of last year. He had 0 fucking goals. Look, is Juve in a position, or were they in a position to gamble on another body? You had Fagioli going through his shit, you got Pogba going through his shit, and now all of a sudden this guy is going through that shit. If you can break even on the money, I make that move every single day and twice on Sunday, and I ain't crying about it now because he's found his way. Maybe it took a rap album release to fucking do it, but whatever it was, I can't blame them for doing that when this guy openly comes out and says, I was bad physically and I was suffering from depression. How many fucking head cases do we need to find and put together on one roster? I'm done with it. I'm over it.
Based on the results, too many. And the reason I brought it up is because there was a question there for the Storm the Barn. It was early on in the show about did we not?
Oh no, the stat thing, that was great. Whatever,
price?
and it segued perfectly into another point.
Yeah.
That point, that like, can you blame Juve for doing that?
You can't. If Juve would have bought a player that haven't scored or scored 14 goals, a striker scored 14 goals in 3 seasons, and Juve would have paid 15 million for him, would you be happy? Would you say that?
No. He scored 14 goals in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, to be completely fair, he was robbed twice against Verona. Absolutely robbed. He needed to have 2 goals, but
I don't care. Give him those goals. Listen,
Adam and Tuna Steaks
but it's still bad stats.
the issue was not Keane. The issue was not having a backup striker for Vlahovic. That's where he went wrong. Taking break even on him was fine, but I'm telling you, stop crying over this guy. And again, to the other point, how many fucking head cases? Why do we keep finding the head cases? Can we sort this out? Jesus Christ. All right.
No, I'm happy for him. Good for him.
Is he going to score today?
Well.
We'll get to predictions. Set the Tony. Let's go. Who's the official?
So Maurizio Mariani. So he's done a lot. He's done a lot of games in Serie A. 159. As soon as you guys see him, you'll know exactly who he is. So 159 games, 4.8 yellows per game, 52 reds, 56 PKs, and 160 games. So a red or PK once every 3 games.
Well, fits the bill.
Put that out there for you.
I like it.
Again, 5 yellows per game. He's right there on average. So the last time we had this guy was our 2-1 loss to Napoli away on March 3rd. And then before that, it was the 2-1 win against Frosinone December 23rd. And then he did our 1-0 win against Milan last season in October where Milan got a red card. I don't remember that game. We won 1-0.
Locatelli scored, and what was it? Ante Rebic, I think, who got the red card.
There you go.
For,
You know better than me. So another thing about Fiorentina is, yes, they lost 2 of their last 2, but they ripped off 7 wins in a row in Serie A before those 2 losses.
It was Tomori, before they correct me in the chat. It was Tomori with the red card.
There you go. Great memory.
Prediction time. Final score, 2 tiebreakers, and then we storm the barn, everybody. And you get a hint. Triple kick giveaway.
Oh,
but everybody on the live show will get an advantage. You'll get an advantage on how to win, okay? Listen, final score, 2 tiebreakers. I'm going to go first because I want to get this out of the way, and hopefully you guys talk me out of it and pick my spirits up, okay? I'm trying to manifest something, the kit, going back, 06, 4-1, etc., but I ultimately think it's going to be a 2-1 Juve victory. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be ugly. We're going to gain no confidence out of it going into the gauntlet, but we're going to find the 3 points, and ultimately I'll be happy about that. But all the same questions will remain around Juventus. I'm going 2-1, and I'm going to say that Colt Miners finds the back of the net. One of our goals comes from him, and the other is going to be Vlahovic on a PK. 2-1.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, I have mine. First of all, Charles, you're right. It was Malik Chow. Yeah, my bad. It wasn't Tomori. I think it's going to be a really rough match. I don't think you are going to do well today. I'm seeing a 1-1. Kane doesn't score. Goodmanson on a penalty. And Juve snatch one. Let's say Yildiz. I hope I'm wrong.
All right. Scandy, it's all up to you, man.
Yeah.
It's all up to you.
Don't worry about that. So Juventus are minus 120. Fiorentina is plus 390. So they're Juventus is favorites in this one, which is okay. So I also wrote down. I also went with the 2-1 win at plus 800. By the way, 1-0 is plus 550. Over 2.5 goals is also plus 116. Not bad. 3 goals this game. It's possible. My 2 goal scorers, I have McKennie at plus 500 and Thuram at plus 750. Those are my 2 goal scorers. Now, if McKennie scores first, that bet is plus 1100. Set piece goal like last game off a corner kick.
Yeah.
I'm not calling that. But anyways, I also have Cope Miners anytime assist at plus 600. That seems like easy money. And any team over 3.5 cards is plus 400. That sounds like easy money as well today. Also,
how much is a 1-1 draw? Haneen asked.
I think it was plus 550. I took
plus
a picture of it.
Okay.
I'll get that for him in a minute. Also, side note, McKennie to score or assist plus 240. I was like,
not bad.
Man,
not bad. All right.
Guy.
So we're going 2-1s. We got a couple 2-1s, and Omer's going with the 1-1 draw. In the chat, we've got Trim 2-1 Juve, McKennie, and Colt Miners for the goals. Kane will score for Fiorentina and hit the gritty. You just love the drama, Trim. You just love the drama. You want to see him selly against Juve in Turin. Gatti will run and drop kick him, resulting in a red. Imagine that. Jeez, it's turning into
1-1 scoreline is plus 550. I was correct.
There you go. This is where Trim's football fandom and WWE fandom kind of mix here and create these kind of predictions. Gene coming in 2-1 Juve. Forza Juve 2-1 Kalulu and Colt Miners. Someone gets a red. Aldo 2-1 Juventus. Justin coming in with a 2-2 draw.
Someone from Juve's 2-0
Thuram and Yildiz. Camisa 3-2 Juve. Wow. Yildiz brace and Chico. And a keen brace.
It has to be said, this game is always fiery. It's always a battle. So
got Miners coming in with the 1-0. We got a 3-0 from Renato. Hey, from you to the football gods. Let's go. Let's make it happen. And by the way, everybody, watch along is in play. 20 minutes before kickoff, I'm going to be rocking it. Now, Get those likes up right now. Triple kick giveaway real quick. I'm going to give you a hint on how you win, but you're going to have to be paying attention to the rest of the content through today. But the hint is simple. Blue. Blue. The hint is blue. And
Blue,
you'll see
blue.
when that comes. You saw me
I'm
standing alone.
Blue is the hint for what?
The triple kick giveaway. Jesus. Stay with us.
Okay. Sorry,
All
I
right,
was
Storm the
busy
Barn. First,
reading
before
the
we get to all theirs, I have one.
So do I.
Beautiful. Because Trim was enjoying one of the viewing watch parties at the official club for JOSC Toronto. And he was doing a great job asking some cool questions to the crowd there. And one of them was your Christmas wish for Juventus. And obviously just Champions League bombarded the answers. Got to the point where the final gentleman said he would trade all the Scudetti for another Champions League victory. Would you do the same?
That person was drunk. But they don't even serve that much alcohol at the club, whoever that was.
They don't serve any.
Oh, yeah. So, hammer.
I'm not trading all the Scudetti for another Champions League win. I want it all. Let's get that fourth fucking star, and we'll get the Champions League victory.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I am not trading all of our Scudetti. What was funny, though, is in the comments, somebody said, and made me laugh because it was kind of funny. It's like, I'd trade 4. I would trade 4 of them and go to, 34. Would you trade 4 for another Champions League victory?
I would trade 10.
You go to 10?
Champions League. Yeah, but that's like the limit.
There
all
you
of
go.
them?
Trading 10.
Yeah.
Trading 10.
All of them? That's insane.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trading all of them. There's no chance. No chance. You could talk me to like maybe 4 or 5, but that's it. Anything beyond, no way. No way. No way. Skanga, it's your Storm the Barn.
With all this talk with youngsters, I figure we might as well bring it up. I think the chat would like it. You know what my answer is going to be. But if there was one player under the age of 25 that we've sold or loaned or released, well, who's that one player recent years? We don't have to go back, Omer, to like 1978. Is there one player that you would say, I wish he was back in my team today? My answer is none of them because it was all business and I don't really look. But I know you guys have some feelings of if there's one player you could bring back in recent memory, who would it be that we could use? Right?
Let's say the past 2-3 years.
Yeah, recent
years,
memory.
maybe.
Recent years.
Let's say after 2020.
Sure.
I think right now it would be Dragushin.
Okay.
I think Ravella's picking up a lot of steam and like what he's doing.
Ravella is a good answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ravella is a good one. Delict is also a good one.
It's someone we would need right now. Like you're like, oh man, that kid would just like right into our lineup.
I gotta say, and obviously this comes up with Huijsen picking up a man of the match on a Crystal Palace against them and scored a couple goals in the past couple weeks. Huijsen is one we wanted to avoid, and we talked about that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's got to be a defender with where we're kind of sitting. I think as far as up top, as go the Dragusin one's kind of a decent shout, but Delict is probably. I get it at the time and everything, but I also don't want to pick him because he pissed me off because he could have had the keys. Mm-hmm. He was about to get the keys and he jumped immediately to Bayern. So for that alone, I cannot pick Delict, and I won't.
He facilitated the Bremer purchase, correct?
Yeah, which it's been way better, and Bremer's the fucking.
But like
man.
Ravella, like we just released. Like a lot of people say Ravella, like he kind of.
The Ravella one pissed me off to no means because talk about giving gifts. We made nothing. We just said here you go. to Lotito of all motherfuckers. I'm going to say Hoyson. I will just say it. Hoyson, I think, was, one we should have probably kept, but that doesn't mean I go against what we did because I completely understand it, and he's still got a lot of potential that may or may not hit.
And if Bremer doesn't have that ACL injury, then we're talking differently about positions in the field.
Yeah.
And Hans Nicolucci? Fair enough.
No.
Hans Nicolucci did some.
Kulishevsky.
Yeah. Spinazzola. That's how far back are we going? That was what?
Just
18?
No, that was 19. I think the Sarri season. He was still there with Allegri, and the Sarri season. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going back to Rovella Hive, and I'm keeping it alive. I'm going to say Rovella.
Does anyone want to say Cancelo? No, that's what I thought.
I'll say it. Cancelo. No, I'm going to say Rovella. I'm sticking with the Hive. Fuck it. Shouldn't have done it. Great storm the barn, though. Scangavino. Fucking on point today.
I'm not just a hat rack, buddy.
If Juve lose today, does that mean we are officially in crisis? For me, if we lose today, fingers crossed we don't, we are in crisis.
It's a 6-point game. It's a massive game.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
Massive.
They also have a game missing against Inter. Like they still have one game. And we're tied for points right now, and they have another game against Inter that they didn't play because of Bove.
Guys,
so
Milan is in a crisis. Let's define the word. Milan's in a crisis.
I wouldn't say.
I think we're halfway there.
Crisis. I wouldn't say we're in crisis. We are in absolute. It's hell of a mess for top 4. It's a mess. I don't know if I'd say crisis though. I don't know if I'd say crisis.
I think we're halfway there. Like a few more losses, and we are there because then it will be really hard to track back.
And that's where I've been. That's where I've been for a while. Where I've been saying I'm right in the middle because we're not far from being in a healthy spot, but we're also not far from being in a fucking bit of a nightmare. So it's touch and go, but I don't necessarily think that this game today means crisis mode. But
again,
maybe it does because at some point you got to beat the better teams in the league. Like you got to pull.
Are we in a tailspin?
No.
Like we're in a tailspin, sort of going straight. We're not really going up or down. We're sort of tailspinning.
But again.
A lot of it is because of injuries, but the fact that we can't point out our strongest 11, that it hasn't been proven on the pitch who our strongest 11 is, that's a sign of a club that does not fully know what they're doing still. They're still trying out stuff.
Yeah, it's true. But at some point, Mota also has to dial it in, right? And get her going.
We did have a week break, which is different. We didn't have a midweek game. So
the last time we had a 1 week break, we drew. Who do we draw? Yeah. We drew like a shit team on a 1 week break at home.
Venezia.
But the one question mark that some want to keep as a positive is we play up against better opposition. Well, the results don't necessarily say that because you're drawing all of them. The only better opposition outside of Champions League, in league, the story doesn't really follow that, but we need to make it follow that. We got to get the job done today. And what is the chance we play today like we did against City? And maybe we set up low and want to hit them. What do you think the chances of us playing like that are today?
I think it's out of our hands. If they want to push forward, they will, and we'll have to capitalize on that. But we're not in a position to dictate how the game goes. As evident by the previous game, we played up to the level of our opponent. We played to the way they played the match. If they decided on a low block, then that's what we had to deal with, and we couldn't find ways to to pull them out and make them play differently. They make us play the way they want. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This season, it worked for them more often than not, and that's a problem. If you ever want to be a big team and compete with the rest of Europe, they need to impose themselves on teams that are not as good as Juve or shouldn't be as good as Juve.
We haven't
Yeah.
seen this lineup impose themselves on anybody, though.
Yeah.
So
That's-
as far as how we're gonna play today, it's tough because Fiorentina is a good counter-attacking side. I think
good
like
team.
they might be more likely to drop back, to be the ones to drop back because of the confidence that they have in their ability to transition and do so. We're the ones that are in flux. It's like, what do we want to be the team in possession, but we don't know what the fuck to do with it when we get it. So, I mean, if I'm Fiorentina, I'm probably leaning towards playing that way and saying, you know what, these guys struggle to create and build up. Let's hang back and then push at them because they're suspect when teams do that. I think the blueprint is there. So I actually expect it to be the opposite and Fiorentina to do a little bit more of the sitting back. Not completely. We're not going to see any low blocks or anything, but I think they're going to box up on the flanks and force us to just recycle the shit out of the ball. And the second they win it, they're going to fucking bomb. That's what I expect. Not a full clampdown.
Conceição's been quiet the past couple games. I wouldn't say he's been poor. I would just say we need him to impose himself a little bit more. He has been getting double teamed.
He's gonna have. I think he'll have a little bit more space here than past couple, so he should be able to get going. I see Napoli and Venezia here above me, just about to kick off second half. It's 0-0. Them against Venezia, and Manna has said that we will see on Danilo if the terms are correct, which means that is pretty much a confirmation that everything we've been hearing.
What don't you like about those terms? Getting him for free.
Well, that's what they're waiting for us to release him so that he can walk in there. So that is now confirmed based on his words. Also, we're seeing now on the news, Fabrizio Romano states that Juve's manager, Thiago Motta, considers Tomori his top target at center back in January. There's still no direct contacts yet with Milan, who will only let the defender leave if an important offer were to arrive in January. He doesn't add this last part, but this is what we're hearing, is that obviously when the two teams meet in Saudi Arabia for the Supercopa this coming Friday, January 3rd, that meetings will be held on the player. I like Tomori. There is a lot of Juventini that do not want Tomori to come. I would be for that. And I actually like him close to the top of the list when it comes to Tomori. Knows the league. Was the same story as Kalulu. Was balling out when they had that. You're not much of a gamble, even if they want their highest price, which is 25 million. What are you going to get for 25 million? Listen to the Milan fans' reactions to Tomori potentially coming to Juve at around 20 to 25 million.
They were pissed.
That should give you your answer.
They were pissed. Now, does that soften the blow of Danilo leaving on a free if Tomori comes in?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's maybe the piece that we're missing, is that he has some.
But I still wouldn't do it.
Okay.
It softens the blow, but I still wouldn't do it.
When does the window open and close? Is it just the month of January, or is it like
it's
the
just
5th?
January.
Okay.
So Milan is pissed because they're gonna sell to us a direct competitor, whatnot. We're still letting this guy walk, so I still wouldn't do it. I'd pick up Tomori, and I'd say you guys could wait till June. How's that? And that's, it's time to be cutthroat again. We get 0 favors. We don't need to give favors to anybody else. And if they might be pulling a fast one on old Giuntoli if he thinks he's getting some type of a break or something coming for Osimhen in the summer or something. No, you're dreaming. They will not deal with us smoothly or cleanly. So for me, no thank you.
There were mentions of Raspadori.
Oh no, just not that guy.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I hear
Another
ya.
attacker who doesn't know what his good position
And what
is.
was the last we heard? That they upped the price. Even if we included a player, they still wanted the 20 mil on Rasp on top. I repeat right here for you. Okay? I'll even add that. Get the fuck out of here. All right? No. George, in Atalanta, Cope played as a 10 behind two strikers, Lukman Skamaka. Maybe we should try it sometimes with Dusan and Nico or Yildiz. He
First
was
of all,
he was
first of
always
all,
the
we should.
late man in. Like he was the trailing, and I said this a lot, is like he's not really doing the same thing for us. It's just it's different. For whatever reason, he's also a lot of the interpretation from him isn't lining up. I think if you've got Nico and Yildiz, I'd roll with those guys in there, and I keep Colt Miners back. I like him better at that deeper. But what I don't like about him when he's deeper is we've seen this now twice. He doesn't pull the trigger when he needs to on like progressive through balls for whatever reason. It pisses me off. So I don't know. Is he this midfielder that needs to arrive in the box late, get into the area late, or can he be the guy pulling the strings at the back? Because that's 2 matches in a row where he's deeper. He's not taking those attempts, and we need that. Like Douglas Luiz is taking those. He's taking those shots.
He is.
To try and send those passes, trying to send those through balls over the top, those weighted passes. Colt Miners, and you see him make the feint with his body like he's gonna do it, but he pulls back all the time. I'm caught between two minds with this guy. Sooner or later,
I don't know why. I mean, the way Atalanta play and how long they've been playing it's a bit easier at Atalanta. That's their system. All the players are aware that's the way it worked for them in the past, I don't know, 7 years. And I can't compare that, as Cook Miners coming into a team that knows what their style of play is and all the players know their role, and just this guy leaves, inject another guy, and they fit in immediately. With the same manager for a long time, I can't compare that to a new team where he has a different role. It's not apples and apples. So, yeah, he's not doing it there for me yet. But I think it's more of a team issue. The way the team moves, the way they open up passing lanes doesn't benefit anyone right now, to be honest, when we're attacking. Not Coop,
Yeah.
not Vlahovic. Conceição, most of his moves are individual moves and less of team moves. And that's where I see him today, and it has to be figured out. But I do have patience with it. I can't compare the way we play to the way Atalanta has been playing for the past 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's weird. We gotta fucking get this guy like actually rolling. The month of December, he's got 3 contributions, whatnot. But like I said, in game, the
handbrake is on. Definitely, it doesn't take the shots. Yeah. It doesn't take the passes, the risky passes. Douglas Luiz is Brazilian. They always go for the audacious pass or shot. They like it, and I expected exactly that from him. I expected it more from Coop Miners, which seems weird because he was a guy that did take risks and he has a good shot on him, good pass on him. It's weird that he's not trying it out because the movements are there.
Yeah, we'll just see. It's strange. It's really, really strange. I don't know, but our whole attack is awkward here. You can see Paulo in the chat there for whatever reason. And the reason I'm looking at my screen is because all of a sudden it's saying internet is cut out, so I'm concerned here, but we're still live from everything I can see. And I don't know why the chat comments aren't pulling up anymore, so we'll see. I think I could still pull them from the side here.
No, I still see.
What is your most insane Juventus hot take? We might have missed this one earlier. So what's the most insane Juve hot take? I don't know what my most insane. These ones are always tough to think of on the spot. I don't really know what's a hot take of mine.
Maybe one you've seen out on the Matrix. when I grind your gears.
I think I might have brought one up, which was that trade all the Scudetti for another chance. Like, to me, that's crazy. I would not do that. That's probably one I saw in the Matrix. We saw it in our own content. But yeah.
I don't want to annoy Swarit. I just don't want to annoy him, but Chiesa.
But you're gonna do it anyways.
I mean, yeah, I'm committed to the Storm the Barn segment. What can I do? He asked the question. That's the first one that comes to mind. Chiesa wasn't all that much for Juve. Wasn't what I expecting. Wasn't the hype that was talked about. He was that for one season, and that's about it. Then the injury, and we're talking about Euro 2020, but that was for Italy. It wasn't for Juve. I expected more, and number-wise, play-wise, even mentality-wise, it wasn't what I was expecting. So sorry. That's what my opinion, my hot take. I wish it would have been better. I wish he had another season to prove himself and say that I'm wrong. Maybe he will. I don't know. We discussed it earlier. Maybe we will see him again in the Juve shirt. But it was sort of a flop for me. In the grand scheme of things, 4 years, one good.
I think it's safe to say it's a flop. That was a flop.
Okay. That's my hot take. I love you, Swarit. I swear, it's nothing against you.
Oh, I saw one out there. Buffon is a bigger Juventus legend than Del Piero. I saw that one out there, speaking of Matrix, Tony. Who wants to tackle that one?
I can see the argument.
All right.
I can, like 1A, 1B, like pick one. I won't pick one. I'm just going to say.
That's tough. That's tough. You could see it, but I'm going ADP.
Longer tenure, obviously, I believe, right? Buffon was here longer.
So signed
Was it?
Del Piero in 93?
Del Piero was 19 years, if I remember correctly.
93, and he retired 2012. Well, left us in 2012.
Didn't retire, he left Juve.
So
Buffon was 2001 to, then he had a year off up to 2022, right? And then
22, 23 season, yeah.
Yeah.
Close. So same tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Trophy haul goes to Del Piero. Buffon had the decade of dominance with him, though. Might have overtaken.
Yeah, I think he overtook him.
I think he overtook him on trophies.
I put them both on.
He does have the Champions League. But he does have the Champions League.
He does have the Champions League. Yeah, the only one that Gigi was missing. It's close, but for me, it's Del Piero. Del Piero will always be synonymous.
Yeah.
He's the first name.
You know what? Here's a hot take for me. Wow.
I don't think it's close. I think we're lying. I think
No.
it's.
Well, I don't know even if I agree with my hot take. For me, Chiellini might be above Buffon.
Holy shit.
Come on.
For me personally, you have no idea how much I loved Chiellini.
I know you look like him, but take it easy, bud.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
That is fucking hot. I don't know if this is hot or it's fucking scorching. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Volcano.
It's a bit...
No, man. No.
Maybe recency bias. I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know. I loved Chiellini so much. He was my favorite.
Well, I
player
could
for
see
a
that
long
because you're getting
time.
crazy with it here. He's a beauty. He's an absolute
Yeah,
beauty.
well, I'm probably wrong, but...
I don't...
you're not
like,
wrong.
honestly, though, like... He's not far, but there's a pretty healthy gap when you're talking Buffon and Del Piero. But is Chiellini the next one up? Like,
oh, the top three are Del Piero, Buffon, Chiellini for sure.
without considering the guys before our time, right? Like,
yeah, I didn't watch Platini and
then Sivori, old school, and Shirea even. You know, without considering those guys, 1, 2, and 3, I'm cool.
1, 2.
As a Juve legacy, Buffon, obviously. For me personally, my favorite players who played for Juve, I think Chiellini is above him.
Man,
I think I
That
would put Trezeguet ahead of Chiellini.
Trez.
yeah,
I
that's
love.
personal.
He was.
I mean,
He's
Okay,
right
so
there.
does
I put
Chiellini?
Trezeguet right
Chiellini
there.
does not come into the five that stayed back. He obviously was with us in Serie B, but I don't consider staying back because he was so new to Juve.
Yes. Yes, he
So
was.
does he crack Camoranesi on the list? I think so.
Chiellini, I
Yeah,
Yes.
think it does.
I
Yes,
think
he does.
so. No disrespect to Camo. I love Camoranesi.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Trezeguet was in that mix of the guys that stay back, and Skanga saying
Same
he
line.
doesn't pass Trez.
yeah. It's super personal
It is
Yes.
for me.
personal.
Yeah,
Well,
super
Forza Juve
personal.
here puts Pinsolio on there, so hey, teach their own.
Yeah, yeah.
Being so. I still remember Omer's Christmas gift to him, the hemorrhoid
Pillow,
pillow.
yeah,
The
yeah,
pillow, the round pillow.
yeah.
Let's
Super
see. Let's
important.
keep it going though. That's good stuff, you guys. Good stuff
Nedved.
in Storm the Barn here.
Nedved too.
Could this be the most barnstormer game of the season? Because both Juve and Fiorentina are hungry and they can score when they need to. We can score when we need to. We could score in open games and stuff, but we've got a lot more to prove than Fiorentina. This could be a hell of a game because if Fiorentina
Barnstormer.
comes at us and forces our hand, I don't know if they're going to do that. If they force a slower tempoed game, that's where we will struggle. So I don't know if it's got the right recipe for this kind of game. I think the blueprint of how to succeed against us makes it contrary. I think you're going to see those crazy games in Champions League more than league play. What do you think?
Interesting. Can you put it up again? The question, so I can
Yeah, could this
direct my
be the
answer.
most barnstorming game of the season? Both Juve and Fiorentina are hungry and they can score when they need to.
No, I don't
No.
think anything will top the 4-4 with Inter,
Agreed.
and not this season, not next season. But it has the potential to be like one of the crazy ones.
It's it's got the potential.
Like
I
multiple
don't know
red
if we'll see it.
cards. It's that kind of
Yeah.
game. That you don't see that happen with the Inter game. I think the refs will keep those matchups, somewhat tame. But this one, they'll let the horses out of the barn on this one. Just go
Look
all
at
over the
this.
yard. Yeah.
Here's a hot take, by the way, while we get to the next Storm the Barn. We would have been more successful with Higuain staying and without CR7. Woo!
Ronaldo scored 100 goals in 3 years. 100
He did.
goals.
But
It
the
did, but
team was
yes,
a
some
mess.
of the even Bonucci alluded to it recently that it kind of broke the team. It didn't
Yeah.
break them, but they were sort of just
Club.
complacent. Yeah, Ronaldo will fix it. He will score eventually. We can win, and it created a weird vibe inside the team, and we felt it. Come
Created a
on,
bunch of Muppets is what it did. And they
yeah.
like they can't think for themselves, like they can't fend for themselves. It just broke the
Let,
spirit.
okay, let's say that I agree with this hot take. If that means Marotta stays and doesn't leave,
Yeah, that would have been probably the bigger key. So we probably would have been more
yeah,
successful.
yeah.
God damn it,
We
you're
didn't.
right, Kielo Star. And of course, Kielo Star. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Uh,
It's all coming together. Omer agrees. You've got Kielo in your name
that
there. Oh, yeah,
guy. That's
it's all
my
coming
guy.
together. It's all coming together.
There's
Expectation
your
from
3-kit winner, by the way.
No, you're not in charge of that. Slow down. Relax.
I'm in charge of anything.
Expectation from January transfer window. How many players come in? What's your call, Skanga?
2.
2 total. Both at defender or one defender, one attack?
Both at defender. 2's a lot for January. We normally don't like 3. I say 3. 2 defenders and some schmuck striker who's carrying Dusan's bag and Milik's crutches.
Omer.
That's the
How
guy.
many?
Yeah. Two sounds about right. I think a defender and weirdly a midfielder. I don't know why, but I get the sense they're gonna go for a midfielder.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 2. But this Danilo thing's really throwing me off. Maybe 3. Final answer. I'm going with 2. We get 2 signings.
Okay.
What will you do if Keane scored a hat trick in Gritty Street? I'm gonna smash something in this office on that watch along.
Either way, I don't think he's celebrating
It
at
has
the
nothing to do with
stadium.
Keane and a Gritty. If we concede 3 today,
Mhm.
I'm smashing something. You can,
Yes.
I'll
I mean,
like
I
bank
know.
on that.
Are you getting the Kane that played for Italy recently, or the one who plays for Fiorentina? Because those are two different beasts.
One's not a beast at all.
Yeah, sad
One's a,
beast. Swamp,
one's
swamp beast.
Listen,
one's a little chicken shit
I've been on.
poser.
I've said this on the record before. I have no problems with former players going into their old barns and celebrating in front of the old fans. Do it. It's very hard to score a goal in professional football. You celebrate the shit out of it every time you score.
This guy scored 0 last season. Celebrate the fuck out of every goalie you get, man.
Bingo.
I want you to wear a jacket like Allegri, so in case he does that, you can rip it off and throw it to the ground.
It's
All
actually
right. That's
okay.
actually
I was out
decent.
yesterday. I swung by the Adidas store, and I saw the NASA jackets, the
Yeah.
Juventus
The
NASA.
bomber jackets.
They're actually quite nice.
Oh yeah,
They're
they're
heavy.
nice.
But
But
they're really
it's
heavy.
NASA. I'm out.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If they took everything off, like the NASA stuff off, and like the American flag and the Italian flag, and just had like as a bomber jacket with the Juventus symbol, I was getting it. They're
Oh, yeah.
quite nice.
Paulo, ciao. Does Gonzalez come on and score versus his old team? Maybe it's not Keane scoring on us. Maybe it's Nico
Maybe.
coming in and sticking it to Fiorentina.
Yes,
Maybe
I like it.
he could. He could.
Yeah. Also,
I think
Vlahovic
he's
doesn't
gonna
have
get
any
into this
goals.
game. Nico's getting into the game.
Vlahovic needs to get one against Fiorentina. He doesn't have one.
Yeah. Against Fiorentina? Yeah. I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't.
Somebody can fill us in if we're mistaken on that, but I think you're right, Omer.
Even Bernardeschi had one.
Why on earth aren't we looking for a Dushan backup? Banking
I think
on
he's
Milik
trying.
is suicidal.
I think he's trying.
I think
that
he
I
is.
fully agree.
I just, one of the update videos this past week, I laughed because while Giuntoli's out here saying, oh no, we're not doing anything until we figure out what's going on with Milik. Meanwhile, you have all these attackers under the sun being linked with Juve, so he's definitely looking. And I think one guy we bring in, if I'm going to make a call, is going to be for a striker.
Well, you have to with Milik down. Like you're not 100% sure when he's coming back, how long it's going to take for him to get back. He wouldn't be doing his due diligence if he wasn't looking for a backup striker.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. I think we're going to bring somebody in. We're going to bring somebody in. What do we need to do first in order to develop more fluent football? Coach, players, management. What is it that's stopping us from being fluent? Well, to be
Coach.
honest, for me, it's coach and players. It's the two of them finding the mesh and putting it together. I don't like hearing that these guys are walking around training and have no idea as to why shit's not transmitting on the pitch. What do you mean? What do you like? We're going into January. What do you mean you have no idea how it's not like fluid, or you're not playing better, you're not scoring more? What do you mean? I don't understand. Like, the players have to work with the coach too, and if Coach Miners feels a certain way about his translation of a role and feels like he's got way too many responsibilities, like, fuck, talk it out, hash it out, sort it out, figure out what's best for everybody. But it's crazy to me that, and again, this is why the injuries line falls flat on me, because it has no bearing on how you play. Like, your game should be your game no matter of who's there. You should still see the ideas. You should still see like the tempo, what you're trying to do. So it's coach and players, 100%, 100%, putting it together. They can't figure it out when the game is slow and we are forced to build up. Champions League, we look like a different team.
I half agree with that. I mean, there are players who allow you to do stuff that other players don't. Imagine Conte trying his system without Pirlo. When he moved to Chelsea, he moved to a two-man midfield. He didn't have that Pirlo for him. So he used them differently because he's a smart coach and he found a way around it or a different way to play. But there are players that allow you to play in a certain way. Like when Cambiasso is missing, a lot is missing. When Bremer is missing, it doesn't allow you to play a certain way. So I agree with what you're saying in general, but there are some players who are key factors that when they're not there, everyone feels it.
No, but you just literally said that you'd change it. So it's still on the coach. If you don't have a guy that allows you to play a certain way, then you change it for the guy that you do have next man up.
Yeah, that's a different thing. You have to change it.
It's technically the same thing, though, because it's up to the coach and the players to put it together for the better of the group, one way or another.
That's what I would give the team, more chemistry. If I could add anything, is them understanding each other. Because like I see the ideas, I watch the training video, I see what they're working on. It just doesn't translate to the field. Like they can't make it work because teams find it easy to close them down, close the passing lane, everything. So there's something that's not working and doesn't translate from training to matches.
Yeah. It's we gotta sort it out. Get the likes up, everybody. Listen to RB Comps. Listen to our boy here. Okay. We're gonna keep it firing. Is Berto taking his shirt off on live feed again? Okay, first of all, I didn't take it off. I changed for the better of the result. And we want viewers. So, no, because we want viewers. Does this game turn the season around? How many times have we said? Have we got to get a tally on?
I just want to finish the season on the year on a high note and like going positive into the next year.
This is
Would
like
it turn the season around?
Tournament.
Potentially, this could turn the season around. I think how? Do you rank De Gea in the top 3 keepers in the league right now?
I don't know any of the other goalkeepers.
No, I would.
They're all prime Buffon when they play us, so it's hard to say.
I would put Carnesecchi is having a great season. Di Gregorio. Mike Magnan is still a phenomenal keeper. He just has shitty defense, really bad defense. No, I wouldn't put him in the top 3. I mean, Inter are barely conceding.
Sommer?
Yeah.
He's top 5. He's top 5 for sure. I don't know
but
if
he does have a great season.
But this season, based on his play this season, he could be. He's not far.
Yeah.
Di Gregorio, I think, is starting to show his chops. He's going to be up there. Sommer's probably going to be up there. Carnesecchi's doing great this season. But De Gea could be in there.
Now, I don't remember. Is it Turati was the keeper for Monza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they haven't allowed a lot of goals. So, and they're near the bottom of the table. So you got
Turati's funny though because like he'll have a great game and then he'll just have a stinker and he kind of floats. But like last year, where the hell was he last year? I'm trying to think. He was actually like great last year. Turati.
Didn't he get called up to the national team last year? I thought he did.
Where would you think?
Okay.
Where would you think Yildiz will end up, all things considered? Where do what? With us, rocking it.
Yeah. I think the question popped up when we talked about the ratings of top Juve players before Del Piero. So I think the question is where will he rank up?
Where will his legacy end up with you? Oh my God.
I think that's what he meant because that's when the question popped up. I know depending on how long he stays, could be top 20, couldn't even crack the top 50.
Higher than Dybala's.
No, I don't think so.
I was trying to find
I'll tell you right now, it would be higher than Dybala's. That's a hot take. That's a
That's
hot
I'm
take.
super hot take.
I'm going to agree with that.
Hotter than Beyonce? Or my take on on Chiellini and Buffon?
There's like legends, and then there's like Hall of Famers,
Icons. I
and then
call them
and then
icons.
No,
and then like
icons are
another
Del
group.
Piero and Buffon. Icons are the highest.
No, legends are
No,
the
your
highest for
time
me.
thing is not. That's not an icon. This is not pop music. This is fucking football. Icons. When you play
Well,
FIFA, you get icons. These are staples. These are synonymous with your club. They're
Let's
above legends.
well,
let's just
Legends.
FIFA
You
are a
can
bunch
have
of.
because you can't have a different variation of an icon. You can have a different variation of a legend. You can have a cult legend. You can have a standard legend. You can't do that with icon. Icon is
Well-
icon. Iconic. Boom.
Well, fortunately, you're not the one making the rules. So my rule is that icon is below legend. Legend
No.
is
We
top
follow
tier,
FC25 and FIFA.
Wait, let me make my case. Legend is something like every legend that will forever be remembered and embedded in the team's history. Icon is someone who's iconic for a certain period in time. Dybala was iconic for that 9-year run. Tevez, Mandzukic, will they be legends? No, 30 years from now, I don't
Cult
think kids will be
legends.
talking
Yes. They're not icons. Cult legends.
I got
For me, legend is higher.
so confused. I will say one day Yildiz will be on the wall, and Dybala's jersey will be coming down.
Whoa.
Ooh,
I don't know if he needs to come down, bro. Come on.
Well, I'm running out of space. Like it's getting
That's true. You are running out of space.
getting full. Yeah.
Okay, this will be a fun one. We probably wrap up on this one.
Yeah.
Who is on your Mount Rushmore for Juventus? This will be. It doesn't have to be like a obviously guys
Personal
that
or-
we've seen played, not above.
Yeah.
So
Well, Mount Rushmore's 4, right?
give me your personal Mount Rushmore for Juve.
my personal of players I watched would be Del Piero, Buffon, Chiellini, Zidane. Those would be my top 4.
Okay.
All time, I'd say Del Piero, Platini, Scirea,
We can't go
and
too far.
someone else.
Skanga?
Sigurd, probably.
So it's Baggio, Buffon, Del Piero, and Trezeguet.
Yeah, I got Baggio, Del Piero, Buffon, and I have Chiellini. Those are my 4. I gotta put Robbie in there. That's when I literally started watching, so he's got to get in there for me. That's my personal. That's a fun one. That's a great one. Trezeguet getting in there too. I hate leaving Trez out, man.
Can't leave
I hate
Trezeguet.
leaving Nedved out. I hate leaving
Nedved.
Davids out. I mean, there are a lot of players I hate keeping
That's
out.
why there's only 4.
I even hate keeping Thuram out.
It's
Absolutely
easier with
love
5,
Thuram.
but that's why there's only 4.
The Nedved one and Chiellini is where I get crossed up because
It's a tough one. That's why I just picked Trezeguet.
Nedved. But I'm
Damn, I thought
I'm sorry, Kielo. Fuck, I'm sorry, man. And that feels wrong. Fuck, that feels wrong. Should be in there.
You're
Tough.
going to lose sleep over that.
That's tough.
okay.
That's tough.
Well,
ADP,
she's
Buffon,
another
Platini,
face.
Marquisio, Buffon, Zidane, ADP, Nedved. Wow. Buffon, ADP, Chiellini, top 3. Doesn't
Okay,
even have
let's-
to go to the 4th. Baggio.
Let's
Robbie
make it more
Baggio.
interesting. Let's make it more interesting. Your top 4, your Mount Rushmore of Juve managers.
Wow. Trapp, Lippi,
Yeah,
Allegri, and
those are
Conte.
obvious ones. Would you put Allegri there? Wow, those are all recent. Like,
Fuck yeah, I'd put
Whoa.
Allegri in there. That first run, yeah, it's results.
and what's the counter to Mount Rushmore? Like, was the 4 worst you've seen for Juve? I mean, 3 of them were in the same season, I believe.
Del Neri, fucking
Yeah.
Ferrara, as great as a player he was for Juve, he's
Yeah.
going to be in there. Del Neri, Ferrara, Some will probably
Zaccheroni.
throw Ranieri in there, but I'm going to throw Capello for the team he had.
Yeah, Capello deserves to be
Capello's
there.
going to be in there for one of the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even Ancelotti might crack the top four.
Carlos not far out of there. Ranieri could be in there too, probably there. But yeah, Carlo was pretty bad for us. Yeah. Del
Gigi
Neri,
Manfredi.
Capello, Ferrara. That's probably it right there. Pirlo. Alex Juve throwing Pirlo in there.
Well, it was the first season that ended the nine Scudetti, like the run.
It was
so,
his first fucking gig.
Yeah.
He did better
Yeah.
than I think Del Neri or any of them would have done. But it is what it is. I could see that. Hey, that was a cool one to finish off. I like those fun ones. Those are always good. Always good. Is Allegri? Well, I just consider him in the. Is he a Juve legend? Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
The
Is that
past
manager?
3 years don't erase what he did before that. Like I said, times change. We need to stop with the reunions and just keep it moving forward. You guys, 80th minute, Napoli, Verona, 0-0. Let's see what these toilets do. But in about an hour, we're going to reconvene here for the watch along. All right. Skanga, Omer, always an absolute pleasure. This is a big one. We know what's coming up in January. It starts with the Supercoppa this upcoming weekend. Starts on Friday with Juve against Milan. Let's wrap up a deal with Tomori. Let's beat him. Let's go into the final of the Supercoppa. Let's win that thing. Let's take the extra $8 million in cash. And let's move into the January window. And Napoli just scored. And it's Raspadori. The price just went up, everybody. Okay?
Oh, my
Raspadori scored. Price went up. Hey, let's see what happens. You guys, see you in an hour. Do whatever you do for superstitions. Let's beat the piss out of Fiorentina today. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Set the tone.